Okay, it is May 20th. My husband's birthday is tomorrow, and we're getting started with our Trello training. So I'm starting with the prospect funnel. And while I'm going, I would love for you all to type in the chat what questions you have. Are there things that as you're getting into this, you're like, I feel like I'm stuck here. I don't understand how to do this, or keep those questions coming and I'll answer all of them along the way. But this prospect funnel, the idea is that they come preloaded, obviously, with content and resources for you. So all you really need to do is start adding people to your funnels. But the first thing that you need to do is decide, is this the process that you follow when you bring on a new prospect? If it's not, let's update this process so that before you start dropping people in it, it's ready and ready to receive them. So you can obviously add and change your process as you go, but all you need to do is come over here and type in whatever that new process is, and you're going to drop it in wherever you do something different. And you can add your own resource card if you want, and notes about how you do that different step, and all of those different things. And so this is totally customizable. It's intended to be a starting point and not the all encompassing everything that there is to know in doTERRA. The idea is, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Gallup strengths, but I feel like it's really important that you are doing doTERRA your way, that you're with your relationship builder, you feel like you're connecting to people in the right way. If you're an executor, you feel like you're getting things done in the right way, those kinds of things. And this is intended to be customizable. So no matter how you operate, you can feel like you're doing it in a way that honors your true nature. Okay, I'm going to pull up my chat. I saw that some some chats are still coming through, and my chat for some reason isn't showing up over here. Let me pull it up real quick. Let me stop my share. For whatever reason, it's not going there. Can I make my screen bigger? Yeah, let me zoom in. I'll do that for you. Okay, so I don't know if that helps, Rosetta, but the idea is that there's different processes, and a lot of these are taken from like the Back to Basics. So if you're not using Back to Basics, that's totally fine. You customize this to however what your process is. But the main idea is that you're going to start figuring out what your process is. The moment that you meet a new customer, let's say you're at the grocery store and they say, I'm interested in essential oils, or yes, I'm going to send you some lemon, lavender, and peppermint because you started a conversation with somebody at the store. Then we're just going to start adding this person to the Trello board so that you don't forget them, that they're taken care of. There's two different ways to add cards. You just can click the add card button or the create from template. If you create from template, it's going to duplicate this contact card, and it has a whole bunch of notes already in here. And you can change these notes. If you'll notice when you look at them, these notes or steps are the same steps that you'll see up here. It's just kind of shown in a different way and on their individual card. So before you start dropping people in, let's make sure that these steps are what you want them to have happen. You probably want to have an initial contact, share a sample, have a follow-up, have them invited to a class or one-on-one, and then maybe enroll them. But if you do something different in that process, maybe you add them to your texting campaign or your email list, whatever it is that you do, add those steps here so that as you duplicate this card, it will show up for everybody the way that you actually do your business. So we're going to say Susan is a new prospect, and whatever column she is in, that is where she is. That's what she needs to have happen. And so if she's in this column, she needs the initial contact to happen. But since we know we met her at the grocery store and she says she's interested, that part is done. Now she needs some samples to be shipped or shared or however you do that. The cool thing with these is not only is it just an organized, systematic process, but you can change, or you can look in here for resources to make that step happen. And some of these, like Pirate Ship, are obviously for the US. However, I'll show you a shipping board that will work for all of you that are in Canada, the US, South Africa, wherever you are. But the main idea is that you're just going to keep moving Susan along. And I've had a lot of people ask, once they're here in the board, how do I make sure that I am I love your comment, Alana. A Trello board for contacts, brilliant. Yes. And so this is how, before I actually go any further, that actually brought up a good point that made me think of this. A lot of people are asking me, do you bring in everybody from your whole team? Do you just bring in your personal enrollments? Who are we actually dropping into this board? And that's honestly up to you. But I will say the best thing is what Nicolene said that she's doing is that she has her people in there, and then her leaders have their own boards and they put their people in them, because that's how we create leaders, right? Is that we are teaching them to take care of their own people. If you put your whole team in there, your leaders are going to think you're the one that follows up with everybody. You're the one that's keeping them going. So it's really important that you create a duplicable system that your leaders are using this as well. So it's very, very simple, and they don't need to be techie. There's actually a phone app that you can download as well, so that when you're on the go, you're like, okay, I just need to check in and see who needs me today, that you can see it on your phone. Okay, let me share my screen back with you so that you can see this again. So you're just going to move Susan along in the process, and to keep yourself organized, you may just set a calendar reminder every day that says check Trello boards. And all you're going to do is open up your board and see who is in each column. And maybe you even add a little timer on here, like the dates. Let's say that this is the date that I added this person to this column, so that when you come back in here, you don't wonder how long have they been sitting in this column waiting for their samples to be shipped. That you can actually use the little deadline feature, and you'll know, like, oh man, she's been in here for a week. I should probably send those samples I said I was going to send. And then when you move her over here, change the deadline to whatever that day is, the day that you moved her to that column. And that way you'll remember again how long that person has been in that column. But this, I actually set it for the future. Or if you want to use the deadline feature to remind you, I need to follow up with this person in about 4 days, because I know that's when she's going to get her samples and she'll have had them for a few days. So I'm going to set my little alarm to remind me on the 25th that I need to follow up with this person, so that I don't forget to check in with her. The deadline feature is awesome because you'll get an email and a notification pop up on your phone if you've activated your notifications that says Susan has a deadline today. And so that way you can kind of keep yourself organized on who needs what going forward. And so I won't kind of walk through the whole process, because you can watch all of my videos to learn a little bit more about each step and what's there. But the main idea is, whether it's this or something else, write out your process, like scribble what you want your prospects to experience the moment that they meet you. Do they need some samples? Do they get onto your texting list? Do they get added to your welcome, your emails? Do they get an invite? What's going to happen? And then even put times on it. This will happen immediately. This will happen 3 days later. This will happen a week later. And that way, when you come to your Trello boards, you can schedule it out so that you don't forget these people and they don't get lost. Okay, let's show you the customer board, because it's very similar, but this is where we can start getting into organizing your actual team, right? The people who are already enrolled. So here's the customer funnel. And this one's very awesome as well. Actually, I should have showed you how you can move your prospect over. Let me show you really quick. Let's say Susan was still on our other board and you wanted to move her here. All you do is click on the pencil and click move. And then you're going to click on which board you want her to move to now. And she will just, she'll just drop over to that new board. Now that she's no longer a prospect, she's actually a customer. So now we're going to, actually this one, I didn't do it right. You can see, because I didn't use the template, this is empty. So this is from the template, and this is if you just want a blank card. So this is what you should be using to bring in all of your people. We'll call this person Dan. So Dan, now that he's enrolled, what do you want to have happen next? That's the first step before you even start bringing people into your funnel. What do you want Dan to experience? And again, let's update this customer card. Do you want him to have a welcome email, or have a wellness consult with you, or add it to your Facebook pages? Has he been to oil camp, or whatever it is that you do? If you don't do oil camp, that's fine. Come up with your process so that you know when you come in here, this is what I want everyone to experience. And even I would say start small, because sometimes people will come in here like, well, I want all those things to happen. And then they get overwhelmed and don't do any of them. So start with what you can do. Maybe the email is the first step. We know that we can send a welcome email, and that's what we're going to focus on right now. And then you can add things as you go. So Dan needs a welcome email. In the resources section, I actually have a template that you can use for a welcome email. I have people that like to send welcome packages, and so I even have some ideas here on things that you can send. So the resources will give you some starter points to make these actions happen. And then you're just going to keep moving down along. And of course, let's add some due dates to him. That the moment he's received his welcome package, let's make sure that within, so many dates of his enrollment that we reach out to him for a wellness consult. Maybe we schedule that for a couple weeks from now. And so that I remember that he needs to have his wellness consult and to send some follow-up if he hasn't scheduled that yet. Okay. I don't know why it's funny that my thing won't show me. Oh, there we go. Kayla says, when you move a card from one board to the next, you simply copy paste that the process of that board to the card. Yeah. So if I understand your question right, when let's say that I moved Susan from this board to another board, everything that's on her card will move with her. So everything that's on this board, when I move Dan over, will go with him. But let's say that you want let's see. So what I've done, you can see that this template card actually shows some of let's see, this shows all the post-enrollment. So what you may want to do is come in here and add all of the pre-enrollment stuff as well from over here. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So what she's saying is if she's over here, if they start as a prospect, well, all of the customer stuff show up for her as well in that card. So here's where they start. You can see pre-enrollment is here, and then here's post-enrollment, which is the same card on the other end. And so it has all of this same content already, but you can change it. So if you have a different process, what do you want to have before they enroll happen? And then after enroll, just customize this over here in the prospect section. You can still customize it in the enrolled section as well, because they're basically the same card. The only thing that's different between the prospect card is that it has the pre-enrollment section, whereas the customer card doesn't have the pre-enrollment section because they're already enrolled. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, basically come and customize your contact template cards and what this process is up here, and then start dropping people in, and then you're good to go. I have a similar one for the builders, and the builder one is really awesome because it's essentially broken up into 3 sections. You can see I use Trello a lot. My life is in Trello because I have everything here. Okay, there's the builder funnel. This one is awesome because the first section from basically here to here is the first section. This is before they've decided to build. And then the last section, when we start getting into week 1 through week 7, those are people, that's once they have actually decided to build. So let's say Carl is our potential builder, and we've dropped him over here, and we need to have the initial conversation to invite him to build. I've included a lot of the scripts that you'll see from Back to Basics here, so that you have them when you're having a phone call with him, you can have this pulled up in the background. And I also have the nurturing email. This is really awesome because after you have that initial invite to build, you want to send some follow-up things for them to review. And this is a script that you can just copy and paste and drop into your email or customize however you want. Nicolene, I love that. And so this is easy, right? You're just going to schedule the call, and then you're going to copy and paste this and send it to an email. And then you want to remind yourself, like, okay, now that they've received the email, I want to remind myself to follow up with this person in 48 hours. So 48 hours from today would be for me on Saturday. But I would probably call him on Monday just because I don't work on Saturdays, but it's up to you. So I would schedule it for the 24th to follow up with him and say, hey, did you get a chance to see that email? And what were your thoughts? And that conversation is scripted out again right here so that you can follow this script. And again, if scripting is super stressful for you, don't script. Be really authentic. Maybe read some ideas and then customize it so that it feels right to you, right? Like I think some people hear the word script and they feel like it's very rigid, and it's just to give you an idea of things you can say, and then you customize it for yourself so that it works for you. And then now that we've had that follow up with Carl, we actually have a second nurturing email. Like if you liked that, I have some more that will build on what you learned before. And this is where we go more into the compensation plan and what it looks like to actually build a financial pipeline and the law of the harvest that everybody has seen with Tiffany Peterson, all of those awesome videos. And then the next follow-up. Now, let's say Carl's decided to build. Now that's when we get to use the second half of the process. And this is where it gets really fun. If you're wondering, what do I do when somebody first decides they want to build? This is the conversation you have with them. You talk about all of these things right here. You sit down with them, whether it's on Zoom or in person, however you operate, and you say, okay, let's talk about LRP. This is how LRP works, and you're going to need to make sure that it's always set to 100. Done. Let's check that off. Bing. Let's talk about setting up your direct deposit so you can get paid from Doterra or however that works, especially with wherever you are in the country. Purchase a planner. Let's sign a team agreement, or let's get on Vox, or whatever it is that you do that you want them to experience. Let's start with your names list. Let's download the build guide and walk through it together. On your own time, I want you, my new builder, Carl, to go listen to these calls from Back to Basics. And if you do something different, then add that here and customize your process. But a lot of it is preloaded already. Now, week 2, you're going to meet with Carl again. Hopefully it's like the same time for the next, 7 weeks. You're going to have a scheduled call with Carl every Tuesday at noon or whatever it is. And you already know what your agenda is. You're going to come in here and you're going to be like, great, now we're going to talk about sampling. What does that look like? Yeah, Back to Basics is the same as the daily mentor calls. Good question, Nicolene. Yeah, they're kind of interchangeable. And so here's the daily mentor calls for that. Here's, we're going to talk about sampling, and you can pull up all these PDFs, but the idea is we're breaking it down into small bits, because who has experienced this when you bring on a new builder and you end up talking about everything and all weeks 1 through 7 and overwhelm them. And they're like, wow, actually, I need to think about this. I'm not quite sure if this is for me. So we're breaking it down into bite-sized pieces so that they have some homework that they're going away with, but they're not overwhelmed. You're not fire hosing them. And it breaks it down very simply. And then week 3 is where we actually get to start talking about teaching an oil class and what that looks like, and where they can get some classes on the calendar. Week 4 is where we start talking about scheduling wellness consults and all of those things. So I won't go through every single step here, but the main idea is that you're mentoring them for the 7 or up to 7 weeks or so. And then after that, you have some regular check-ins, usually around like week 12. Here's some other things that you may want to kind of talk with them about. But at least have those regular calls for the first 6 or 7 weeks or so. And then monthly for 3, 6, and 12 months, there's some kind of additional things that you may want to talk with them about. Anyway, so that's kind of the basics of the builder funnel, that it's split up into 2 sections: before they've decided to build and after. And by the way, if you no longer need this person on this board, or you made a card that you don't need, just click the pencil and archive it and it will disappear. There's no like delete button, it's just archived. And I really like these labels, by the way. If you're wondering how I got this purple label up here, you just click labels and you can change your labels all day long, so that there's several labels and maybe they mean different things. You can even come in here and type in here and be like, green means, I'm going to say this one means active, or I don't know. You know what I mean? So you can actually have things on the front of the card that show you different things. So you can choose your own labels for whatever you want them to be. I'm just going to delete that and uncheck it. There we go. Okay, so it's all customizable. Now I want to show you, now that you've kind of seen the main like processes of these funnels, I want to show you some of my favorite ones. So the shipping funnel, this one is really, really fantastic, and it works worldwide. I feel like with all the things that everybody is shipping out, we sometimes we lose the receipts, or we forget where they are. I love Kayla. You should love the shipping board. I've been using it daily. That's fantastic. That's what I want. And it looks super simple, and it is super simple. Essentially, all you're going to do is when you have someone that we'll call her Allie, and she has, you're going to send her a package. All you literally need to do is take the tracking number and click on this track package, type Allie's samples, and type in the tracking number and select the carrier. I think this one is USPS. We're going to click track, and look, it just loads it all right in front of you. So you don't have to wonder when someone says, hey, I know you were going to send me something, but I haven't received it yet. You're like, let me go find it, the code somewhere in my purse, or I don't even know where it is. I'm not sure. Now all you have to do is come to your board and say, oh, it looks like it's been delivered, Allie. Maybe check with your post office or something like that. It will also say if it's in transit or what the process is, if it's processed, in transit, or delivered. And so you don't have to go type it into USPS anymore or wherever you do shipping. And there are different carriers. So you can see there's Germany, there's, there's everything. So whatever country you're in, they have it. They should have something here for you. I love that, Kayla. I love that I can see everything in one place rather than looking for emails from USPS. Totally. And you can see it at a glance, so that the moment that somebody says delivered, it can almost like initiate like, oh, they received their samples. Now I'm going to go follow up with them and have my check-in call, so that you can come here and check really quick during the prospect funnel and ensure that they actually did receive what you were going to send them, so that you can follow up with them in an appropriate amount of time, instead of calling and saying, hey, did you get your samples? And they're like, no, not yet. You're like, oh, I guess I'll call back later. You can actually see that they've received them and give them some time. So I love that. Okay. Fantastic. I also want to talk about the, I think I have somebody at my door. They'll just have to wait. The project board. This is another really fantastic one. And there it is, project board. This is just, I've infused this with some ideas, but you can archive everything here that is convoluted, or that if you just want to see the top things, you don't want to see anything else, you can totally do that. The idea here is that there's a brain dump section. So any task or idea that you have in your business, even if you're not going to take action on it for another year, but you're afraid you're going to lose that idea, just come in here and type it down. Project 1. And then whatever the title of the project is, you're going to type in all the notes that you had in the middle of the night that you don't want lost, or after you had a shower, because that's when I get all of my great ideas, and type them all here. You can add a checklist for them, whatever you want it to be, so that they're not lost. They're just stored somewhere. But now that when you're actually ready to take action on it, okay, I want to start an oil study. Now it's in the queue. This is what we are doing right now. Or this is what's coming up next, and this is what we're working on now. So you can kind of have like in the queue, like this is what's coming and this is what you're going to work on now. And then obviously the best part of a checklist is putting it in the done column. Let's see. Kayla says, you've sent me down the Trello board path. I've been using them for both my branding info, social media dumping ideas, website projects. Exactly. And that's where it gets so crazy, is that now that you've seen what the possibilities are, you can create your own processes. I actually have one for my social media manager as well, where she and I will sit down and we have a spot just for our content dump, and then our what's coming up next, and what we want to, all of our strategy and what we're going to do, our goals and everything. Yeah, that's fantastic. Real ideas, everything. And then I've also included some daily, weekly, and monthly task ideas, but you can delete, you can literally, if you're like, that's too much, that's getting overwhelming for me, just archive this list and then start fresh, create your own board. But the idea is keep yourself organized and download the app so that you can take it wherever you go and be like, oh, I just had an idea, I don't want to forget, and then type it into your Trello board and then be done. And I love that. And the coolest thing is that I think you can have, is it 8 to 10 boards in your workspace for free? So Trello, you can actually use for a long time for free before you have to start paying for it, which is wonderful. So I know everybody's asking now that I'm showing this, what's the cost? It's free. That's what the cost is. You don't really have to pay anything for it unless you want all the added features. So let's talk about the qualifying leaderboard tip for a minute. And actually, let me show you some power-ups. So power-ups are superpowers for every board. And you can really go down a rabbit's hole with these, so you don't need to. But if you're wondering, oh, it would be nice if I could do this with Trello, come into the power-ups. So click on show more, click this left button, click more. Not that one. We're going to go over here and click power-ups. And you can start searching all the different power-ups that are available. Like there's a time tracker power-up. There's a card that means the two-way mirroring card means that you can be in the prospect or maybe the customer funnel and the builder funnel at the same time. And any changes you make to this card will also show up to this card. You can add a calendar view. There's so many different things you can do here. Stephanie says, can we back up the content in the event something happens in the dark web? That's a good question. I have never tried to back it up because it's just always been there. And I think that they would legit go out of business if that happened. I think the world would just shut down. But I'm sure that there's some sort of export feature. So let's start, export. Let's see if there is something. Yeah, board export. You can export all the data into an Excel CSV file. There you go. Figure it out. That the board can do that. Now on the free version of Trello, every board can only have one power up. But if you want more than one power up on one board, then you can purchase, pay for Trello. But let's say that you want one board on your or one power up on your customer board, but a different power up on your builder board. That's fine. As long as every board just has one power up, they can all be different, and that's fine. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. So that's power ups. This qualifying leaderboard is also very simple, but this is where you're going to keep track of the people you mentor. So we have, let's say that you have your leader 1, leader 2, leader 3, leader 4, and then you're going to put all of their frontline or their qualifying leaders underneath them. So here's Dan and JC you'd actually create a card for Dan down here as well, so you can take notes on him as well, and then all of his frontline leaders. So JC, Susan, Carol, everybody, right? And this is where you're going to keep track of your mentoring sessions. So let's say that you are mentoring Dan. You pull, and I legit have a presidential diamond who she will not mentor anyone until they have a board like this pulled ready so that they can be tracking and keeping track of all of their people, because it's just too hard to organize. And so what she does is she schedules her calls with them. I'm just going to call this one Susan again. And you can start keeping all your notes. Let's say you do a checklist, and we're going to call this one May 20th. I'm having a call with Susan on May 20th, and these are the things that we talked about. Blah, 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 blah. She was going to do this, and I was going to do that. And that way, when you have your call with her next, you can be like, oh, it looks like last week we talked about this, this, and this, and you were going to do that. How did that go? Were you able to check in with her? Okay, awesome, great. But you don't forget what it was that you talked about, what you were supposed to do. Yeah, Nicolene, you're my favorite. Yeah, so this is fantastic. You can keep all those things organized, and then you can have another checklist for May 30th or whenever you meet with her next. Or him next. Susan is a she. And then all the different things you talked about during that call. Now for the paid version of Trello, let's say that you want individual deadlines for each task. You can, this is where you can add an individual deadline for each task instead of a deadline for just a full card by itself. So that's for the paid version, but that feature is available, and I use that a lot as well because I do pay for Trello. So very awesome, right? This is where you're going to keep all of your mentor calls organized and keep everybody situated so that you don't forget all the things that are going on. Very simple, but super effective. And you can either choose to use the builder template card that includes, all these different things, or you can just start fresh and start adding your own like checklists. Okay. Let's look at really quickly. We've kind of talked about, let's see. Yeah, we've talked about kind of all of the main ones. Now that I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Now that I fire hosed you, what questions do you have? How would you use this in your business? I know many of you have already seen these on some of the videos and everything, but what questions do you have? How are your teams going to actually implement this is probably the biggest question. What is Butler? I see it on the card. That's a good question. That's another power up. So let's see, I forget what Butler is. Butler is, let me see. That one is, I forget what Butler does. Let me pull it up really quick. Butler is where you can automate cards. So like you can have recurring tasks, I think repeat and things like that. It's almost like a little secretary for the card. And so I think you kind of have to go in and look at every power up that you are thinking of using and decide if that's something you want. And you can also change the view, by the way, so that you can see it all in a calendar view. So if you want to see all of your deadlines from that board, you can put it in a calendar view as well. So Trello is awesome. A few other tools though that also complement Trello and what you're trying to do. I don't know if any of you have heard of Voto, but Voto, not to like throw a bunch of like tools at you, but Voto has a freemium option for all of you new, for anybody who's new or just wants to get it figured out. And say your new leaders just want a prospect funnel, but they can't afford like a big old website and a funnel and all the different things. Voto actually has a freemium option where you can download where it gives you a little CRM for 500 contacts and a funnel to where somebody can go and say, yes, I want to have some samples. And then an automated email would go out to them that says, yay, you requested some samples. Here's the next steps. And it kind of automates that process a little bit so that you can nurture them and make sure that they are people you actually want to send samples to, right? They're not just throwing money out the window. Here's how you spell it. Oh yeah, thank you, Colleen, for typing that in there. So this is Voto. And they actually have a partnership with Doterra. And so that's why this is so awesome, is that it comes with the full version, if they wanted to pay for it, comes with a website, funnels, events, email, scheduling, e-commerce, courses. It comes with all of it. But the freemium one comes with that free landing page where someone can say, yes, I want some samples. You can actually send out one doTERRA newsletter a month that doTERRA generates, and you can send it out and just push it to your contacts. And then you can have 500 contacts in that manner. So it's super awesome for a lot of these people that are just getting started or don't really want to spend the funds on a big, robust system yet, but still want to have that main feature of being able to have a space for people to land. And now if you need the actual website where you can, if you go to meganlloyd.org, by the way, that's built on Voto. So I obviously don't have all the doTERRA verbiage on mine. I've customized it to what I do. And so a lot of my clients are like, well, I do life coaching and doTERRA. I don't know if I just want it because it has all the doTERRA stuff on there. You can delete all that stuff and customize it, make it your own. But the next version comes with the website. It comes with the newsletters, more contacts, events, more funnels. And then here's where you get really fun. I want to actually show you some of the courses that they already have available on the system. So when you purchase the $97 plan, this one is awesome. Let me see if I can show it to you. So here are 2 courses that are ready in the system the moment that you pay for the program. This is a healthy habits challenge for all of your customers that you want them to immediately start going through some education and getting engaged while they're just now excited about their oils. So it's beautiful, and you can customize this to your individual area. Let's say Canada and obviously South Africa have different products than we do in the US. And so if you're talking about something, you're like, we don't actually have adaptive here, then you just customize that and add your own video in it, because everything can be edited and changed. So everything here is already done. Like, okay, week 1, we're going to learn about reducing tension and pain, but it's very simple, just short little snippet videos and a little bit of homework that they can do to enhance that habit, right? And then the next thing that they have is a business builder course. And this is for all of your new builders that now that you're going to be mentoring them, but you also want them to go through some education along the way. But the oil games and the daily mentor calls, you almost need something before that. That's like, here's your very first steps. This is first how to create the lifestyle of doTERRA in your home. Here's how to generate your personalized links. Here's how to set up a qualifying LRP order. Like all those basic things that don't really get talked about when you go through the oil games. And kind of just some basic things, understanding LRP, and they can actually see it visually with you, kind of going through the live guide. It's just very, very simple, right? And so that's all included that you don't have to do anything with. You can edit it and customize it for yourself, of course. And that includes the newsletters. And these are newsletters that doTERRA pushes out every single month. They push out 3, depending on what platform you're using or what account you have, whatever account you have. And so you can customize the newsletter. It's not like Cinduit where you're stuck with what it is and what it looks like. Let's say that you don't like the newsletter and you want to add your own image or your own content, then you can do that here. You can add your own funnels and automations. So the cool thing about Voto is basically the idea that you set up a form on your website, whether it's for a class or for for an ebook or whatever it is. And then the moment they fill out that form, they will get an automated email that you set up that says, yay, you've registered for a continuing ed class. Here's all the information you need to access it. Here's the link, here's everything. And then you can set up automated reminders that will now go out to them without you even having to think about it. So for the next 7 or 8 weeks, you have an email that goes out every Monday right before your class starts that says, yay, just a reminder that the class is tonight at 7. And it just goes without you having to think about it. And then same with like an ebook download. We talk about funnels or lead magnets all the time. Doterra has a plethora of free ebooks that you can drop into your Voto account, and you can say, would you like the sleep ebook? Put your email here and I'll send it to you. Then they type in their email. Then Voto, you can have a little message that will automatically go out to them that says, yay, here's the sleep ebook. Hope you enjoy it. And then you can send up, now you have their email. Now you can nurture them and say, hey, I wanted to see what questions you have and notice that you downloaded the sleep ebook. What can I do to support you? Would you like to get on a call and I can see what your health concerns are? And so this is what the whole system is built on, is nurturing those customers more fully versus just, and it automates a lot of those processes for you, right? It's actually making your website turn from a static thing to an engaging thing where they're actually interacting with it. And so I'll send the link to that and everything. Let's see. Oh yeah. Yep. You can totally build your own courses on Voto. Thank you, Colleen. Colleen's an expert. She knows what she's talking about. Yeah, so anyway, those are some of the tools and features that I like the most for doTERRA leaders. Is I really feel like Trello is a great starting landing space. And then this freemium with Voto is awesome. It says, can Voto funnel be linked to Zapier to Trello? So Voto is different than Trello. So basically what will happen is, let's say that, so you can, from Voto, let's say somebody fills out a form, you can download that CSV file and then you can connect that, through your Trello, like through a Zap or something like that. It's a little bit more longer of a process, but yes, like the short answer is yes, but it takes some time. There's not like an automatic integration, if that makes sense. But yeah, there's some things you can do, but the idea is that Voto is the one that actually sends the emails out, and Trello is what you're looking at to see what everybody needs. It's more of like a visual. Trello is the visual where you can see what people are missing. And then Voto is what sort of automates the processes. So I have clients that will use both so that they can see both. And then to answer your question, Nicolene, Voxer is an app, like an audio app. It also sends text messages as well. So I use that a lot with my assistants, where I will send them audio messages all the time, because I can send audio messages all day long, but it's hard for me to like just type. So I like Voxer that way. But great question. Yeah, that's a really good question. Okay, I know that I've just fire hosed you with a lot of information. What questions do you have, whether it's Trello or Voto or anything else that you're doing in your business? What are some of the challenges that you're facing in your business? And maybe I have a tool or a resource that I can share with you. And then I'll keep it open for just a few minutes before I have to jump off, because I got to go get my kids from school. No questions? You all feel like you're running smoothly, no problems, you have the best business in the world? Okay.
My questions require a lot longer than 1 or 2 minute answers.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to help if you need anything. Cool. Well, if you need anything else, I'm happy to support you. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for my assistant being here. I do a lot of things. I work with doTERRA leaders a lot to help them find and train their assistants as well, where I have trained virtual assistants specifically to support doTERRA leaders, and I have them all over the world. I have people everywhere that are ready to support wherever you are in the world, which is so fun. So if you need an assistant, feel free to reach out to me. You can find me at meganlloyd.org, and you can schedule an appointment on my calendar, and we can talk more about your needs and what you're looking for. So that's just one of many things that I have for you. And I hope that you found this helpful and that you can rock it with Trello and you walk away feeling way more organized than you ever have in your life. Now you can start doing your shopping on Trello, like your grocery lists and everything, not just your business, but your personal life as well. It was so great being with you all today. Have a lovely afternoon.